Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and with me today, we got another very special guest in the house. Now, this is really, I like to hype up my guests a lot of times, but honestly, I'm really hype about this because not only am I meeting this person in person for the first time ever, but I've been following this person's social media platform for the longest time. He's been one of the most inspirational people that I've ever seen in my life, and I love the message that he's spreading out. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to none other than the world famous Jose Cruz, aka the real Mozo. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Hey, man. It's finally, man. We're here, finally, man.
Thank you for that intro, though, man.
Oh, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Now, before we continue, I just want to remind everybody that we are live at Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to my boy Steve, back in the building, man, after a 2-week hiatus, man. Mother Nature tried to take you out, but you know what? You're here, and I'm glad to have you back, bro.
Welcome back, Steve.
Yeah. But you know what? Big shout out to Marv. He held down the fort in Steve's absence, and like he's one of the best people you'll ever meet, bro. And, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, bro, I'm not only am I glad that you're here, but this almost kind of never happened. So why don't you explain to the audience what happened on your way over here from Brooklyn to Garfield, New Jersey?
Oh man, it's been a journey. You know what's crazy? Like I feel like we had planned this several times and we had to reschedule.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like a long time coming. So
exactly, man. But you know what? I feel like all good things happen to those that wait. And knowing somebody of your caliber, not just even your caliber, but getting to know you on a personal level and see what you're all about, and seeing that not only you're a big mental health advocate like myself, but you're a great dude. You're a sports fanatic like me. You're funny. Like you're one of the funniest people I know, and you have a great sense of humor and everything. So I was really looking forward to this from a human aspect, as opposed to just having you on a show.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
let's
so
all be human, y'all. Come
exactly.
on,
so this is actually like the best of both worlds. I'm getting to have you on my platform and at the same time meeting you in person finally.
Facts.
So, but yeah, anyway, what about that little hiccup that you had on the way over here from Brooklyn?
I'm coming from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
I'm mad close. You know, I don't like to be late to things.
Yeah, I like to be a little punctual myself.
I feel like if you're on time, then you're late. So I like to be like half an hour, 25 minutes, give myself some time, you know, especially before a podcast interview, just so I get my mind right.
Yeah.
You know, and I get off the highway and I see them lights. And at first I was like, oh, let me pull over to the side. I thought they was just trying to get through.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I stopped the car and everything, and then the police officer steps over to the side and he says, hey, can you just move up a little bit in front of the Honda? And I'm like, damn, what did I do? Right. But I know what I did, but I'm not 100% at fault at it. Like,
yeah,
the streets don't have that little the turning where you're supposed to turn. It wasn't clear. It was cut off.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
And I'm not from around here, so I didn't know. So like I just it wasn't like I did it on purpose. It was like I was trying to cut through traffic. There was nobody on the street. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I can understand if there was a line of cars and me purposely went on that lane to try to like skip people getting pulled over. I get that. But listen, he's just doing his job.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like at the end of the day, like, I show respect to everybody no matter what it is that you do, as long as you carry yourself with respect and love.
Yeah.
And when he pulled me over, you know, he told me what I did wrong. And I told him where I was going. I told him I was coming here for a podcast episode. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a mental health advocate. And me and this dude we spoke for 15 minutes about mental health, you know,
wow.
Which I thought was dope. And it just comes back to like the conversation can be had whenever. With whoever, hopefully I don't see him ever again. Right? Respectfully, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see him ever again, but like, I even through that experience, that's part of how this is how I want to live my life. Is just like something like that happened that can be something negative. I turned it to a positive.
You know what? I don't think that there's any bigger example of that. Everybody that knows me personally knows that actions speak louder than words to me, always, all day, every day, and that basically falls into line with how that happened. I mean, you were just simply pulled over because you made a mistake. It's not your fault. It's just a simple mistake. We're all human. It's part of life. Right. But even in a situation that minuscule, kind of, you were still able to spread your message and actually probably made that guy's day as well.
Right.
You know, because who knows? Maybe him doing a semi-dangerous job. You know, I don't know how it is out here in Garfield. You know, I don't know the politics out here, but at the end of the day, he's just doing his job. It is something that, you know, he is a servant, he is a public servant, so on and so forth. So who knows? Maybe the job can get to him sometimes, and maybe somebody like you was able to change his life within change his day, within a matter of 15 minutes. So you know what? The message always is coming out. It's always out there.
That's what I say. And that's what I always say. The conversation is always there and the message is always there. That was just a 15-minute conversation.
Yeah.
But you never know what you could take away from it. Maybe he'll go back to his boys, to his partners, maybe ask him how, like just have a mental health conversation with his partners. Like maybe that may spark that. Maybe he might go home to his family and have that conversation with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about just turning negatives into positives and making the best out of situations. Did I want to get pulled over? Of course not. Nobody wants to get pulled over. But at the same time, his energy and the way he approached me was not in a way where I felt like threatened or I felt like he was coming off standoffish. It was very like, like we just had if you were to see us talking, you would think we knew each other from the way we were speaking to each other. So. But that was my journey getting here, man. But I made it. You dig? I made it.
Yeah. Ladies, round of applause for Mozo right here, man.
I made it, man.
All right, so well, first and foremost, before we continue, I want to take this time to give a sponsor out to New York Posse. I want to thank New York Posse for giving me the free merch of this hat right here. You can find them at American Dream Mall and Garden State Plaza, and on their website as well at New York Posse on Instagram. Also, shout out to Noble Designs by Kim. She's designing her own shirts, so if you guys need your shirts, you need merch, hit her up at Noble Designs by Kim on Instagram. And also, you got Monty in the background right there, my little boy right there.
Shout out to Monty.
Yeah, shout out to Monty, man. That's my buddy right there. That's my mental health buddy. He makes sure he helps me with making sure that I wake up with a smile on my face every day.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So all right. So let's get into it, man. So I mentioned earlier that I've been following you for quite some time, and one of the reasons why I'm actually excited that you're here and I'm meeting you in person is not only because I love the message that you're spreading out there, like everybody continually tells you, but you're doing a great job. But this is actually a little bit of it's very therapeutic for me, for a lack of a better term, and I'm going to tell you why. So even though I've had this podcast for quite some time and I've been able to achieve a lot of things and have these opportunities that I never thought were ever going to be presented to me, I still suffer from a little bit of imposter syndrome. So usually when I try to reach out to people of your caliber or people that I'm really interested in talking to and having conversations, there's a little bit of hint that stays in the back of my mind because of that imposter syndrome that I still have. So it's actually therapeutic for me that I was actually able to make this happen, and I'm glad that you're here and everything. But I figure that's a good starting point right there, because I know that one of the factors of being, suffering through mental health or whatever the case may be is imposter syndrome. And I was just wondering if, before you became this huge advocate and spreading your message and, spreading positivity throughout the masses and everything, I kind of wanted to go back to like your humble beginnings. Like, what was your upbringing like, or how was it like for you personally that led up to you eventually being that mental health advocate that you are today?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
Because that's real life. I think everyone on every level still goes through that, some more than others.
Right.
When it comes to imposter syndrome, and just also like just that feeling of like, am I gonna fail, or are they gonna say yes, or am I gonna be good enough? Mm-hmm. That type of vibe. But for me, like honestly, growing up for me, I've always been somebody who just took chances. Mm. I wasn't afraid of taking chances or taking, like, I played a lot of sports, played a lot of basketball. I'm not afraid with taking the last shot if I got to take the final shot. Like for me, it's my upbringing was in the sense of like, I felt like I wanted to do good in the world. I just didn't know how to do it. Mm. You know what I mean? I feel like I was raised, my grandma taught me morals, my mom, my pops. Everybody, was love, but it was just like the conversations though weren't there like they should be. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, which is just life. Like, but for me personally, I felt like I was put on this earth for a reason. I just didn't know what it was for. Mm. And I felt like growing up, I felt like I kind of knew that. I just didn't know what it was. As far as like now as an adult, as far as like this whole journey that I'm on right now, for me it started just during the pandemic, really. I feel like during the pandemic, a lot of people had to sit down with themselves and figure a lot of things out, like not just with what was going on around the world, but with themselves. Right. Like you couldn't go out to the club and drink your problems away. You couldn't go and do this over there. The distractions that were distracting you from real life. You have to actually sit down and figure out what's going on with yourself.
Right, and also you and I are big sports fans, and even that was taken away from
Oh
us
my God!
because
Yeah.
because in a world of pessimism that we live in, sometimes an outlet for people like you and me is watching basketball or football, whatever, because that they call that the candy store because that takes us away from all the other problems. Like I'd rather watch Sports Center than CNN or something like that
Right.
because I know
Definitely.
or TMZ, but even that was taken away from us, and
Right.
then what do we have left? We just have each other or ourselves rather.
Right. So I think that's for me. That's where it started as far as my mental health journey. I had to sit with myself and just kind of see like what am I doing? Like what am I doing with myself? I actually started a podcast. It was just on Instagram Live, like I was doing every week.
I remember those. Yeah.
Just meeting people, connecting with people, and then I realized the impact that could have on people. People were telling me, like keep doing it, keep doing your thing. Um, and then I felt like I had to evolve from that, and I was starting a website, and me and my friend Cheryl, she's a photographer. We went on the Brooklyn Bridge to take some flicks.
Shout out to Cheryl.
Shout out to Cheryl. I had written up some signs up, and I went on the Brooklyn Bridge,
Mm.
and I was just taking pictures on the Brooklyn Bridge. I wasn't holding up the signs on the Brooklyn Bridge. But
Right.
while taking the pictures on the Brooklyn Bridge, people were coming up to me and thanking me for the message that was on the sign.
Mm.
And then that's when it all connected, and I realized like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm like, I love social media because you're able to connect with people, but it's a different type of connection when you're in person, speaking to the person, or them seeing something that you're sharing with them in person is very different than a social media connection than an internet connection.
Right. And I love that you said that because unfortunately, everybody and their mother has social media now. It's just a way of life right now. I mean, it's taken over pretty much every aspect. There's people out there that check their phones on Instagram before they go brush their teeth in the morning. That's just the world that we live in right now. But I love the approach that you're taking it as because one of the things that that comes with the territory on social media is that it's a space for a lot of negativity. Like people out there constantly being narcissists and throwing jabs at each other or sharing too much of their problems that maybe instead of going on social media, they should actually find another medium to, for the betterment of their health. I mean, I've told people plenty of times, even though it may sound facetious, but I'm being serious, that maybe you should spend less time on social media and actually go to therapy or something like that. And I'm not telling them that to be an asshole or whatever. It's, even though I can come off a little bit like that, like I'm very hard-nosed, hard-edged the way I approach people sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's all about, if you're constantly going on social media and your life is still in the shitter, what good is it doing you? It's almost like you have a cavity, but you keep on eating M&Ms.
Right.
So, but getting back to that, I do love the fact that you've been using your message in a positive way, and you've been going against the grain as opposed to everybody else is doing on social media, or at least most of them. And there are some people out there that are mental health advocates as well, and they're spreading their message out just like you and everything. But there's just something about your aura, for lack of a better term, that it comes very genuine. You don't come across as the type of person that's doing this for clicks, for likes, for for views and so on and so forth. You seem like the type of person that you could post something and it only gets like 2 or 3 likes, and you're still going to continue doing with your spreading out your message, and you're being consistent with it. And when it comes to social media just in general, you're a juggernaut, bro. I mean, I see you on Instagram, on TikTok, on everything, and you go hard at it. But I love everything that you're doing, and what's even more interesting about it is me being the type of person that I am sometimes, meaning I like to play a little bit of devil's advocate or play the what if game. Sometimes I wonder that with you spreading this positive message out and trying to share with the world that every day's a better day above ground and so on and so forth, and you do matter, and check up on your strong friend and so on and so forth. It makes me wonder, and I don't think this has happened, but it makes me wonder, have you ever had any pushback up against other people that are pessimists out there to be like, yo, man, why you be doing all that that positive mental health shit? Like that shit kind of like corny, it's kind of fake, like you come off as like disingenuous. Like, do you really care about people like that? Yeah. So it makes me wonder if you've ever come across those kind of people.
Definitely. I've definitely come across those kind of people. And those are probably the same people that are worried about likes and views and things like that, right? Me personally, I don't care about that. Like you said, I post something, we're all caught up in social media with likes and views, right? And how many likes, who likes it, and this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, if I post something and 10 people like it, I appreciate those 10 people, and I'm happy they got something from the message that I posted.
Right.
That's how I view when I post my stuff.
Right. And out of those 10 people that liked it, maybe 9 times out of 10, or even the full 10, their day is now brighter because of your message that you put out there.
Right. And that's just how I go about social media. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like when it comes to posting my videos, everything I post comes from my heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's either something that I might be going through,
Mm-hmm.
something happened to me, and I, you know, like, these are the thoughts that came to my head, or maybe they came to my head 2 hours ago, and I wrote it in my phone in my notes, and I'm like, this is what I gotta share. You know, I have to share this with my people on Instagram. You know, like that's how my content comes. Like, a lot of my content is organic. Very little of it is planned. I'm not a big planner, period. Like, I need to work on that actually in life when it comes to planning. But when it comes to my content,
It's very spontaneous.
I'm very spontaneous in the moment. I could be walking down the street. I could be walking out here today, have something, and I might just make a video while I'm walking out with my thoughts. But as far as the people with negativity and people that have come across and told me those kind of things, you know, to me, it's just part of just, they're unhappy with themselves, so they feel like he must be doing this because he wants to get likes, or he wants to get views, or he's doing it for another reason.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just the other day I posted something on Threads where I said, because people forget, I think also another side of this, people forget that you're human.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mental health advocate. I could preach positivity. It doesn't mean that tomorrow I might wake up pissed off.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I can't get pissed off in 2 minutes about something that happened. Like, I'm human, right? Like, I have feelings,
Right.
I have emotions.
Of
you know what I'm
course,
saying? Like,
yeah.
I get upset, I get happy, all that happens. So
Yeah, if you get cut, you bleed.
right,
You know?
that's what I'm saying. Like, we're all human. Like, I think it's unfair for someone to think that, oh, you're always talking about positivity, so you got to be happy all the time.
Mm.
You're doing you're saying I'm fake for it, but now you're saying me that I should fake it. Like, it's like a backwards way of saying it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get
right.
it.
I get where you're coming from, because I've had this thing where, you know, we'll get a little honest here. There's been moments where some people have think that I've been a little bit egotistical because of things I've been doing, which I'm not. But they're also wondering, like, yo, why are you being so self-deprecating all the time? Like, why do you think so negatively of yourself? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're saying that I'm also egotistical. So which one is it? I can't have an ego. I can't be cocky and also think not so highly of myself. So which is it? You know. So if anything, that just proves to me it's basically a reflection on them, and they're just trying to deflect it on you.
Right.
That's the way I take it.
So it's funny you're asking me this question, because something happened a couple of days ago on Threads. I posted. I said I can't be around miserable people. I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I was around a miserable person and it rubbed me the wrong way, and that's why I felt, and I shared that. Someone was in the comments saying, well, this comes off, someone I don't even know, someone that just follows me on Threads,
right.
I guess Instagram, was like, well, that may come across as a dick move, because you don't know what they're going through, you don't know what's happening with them. So I just responded, I was like, but you don't know what I went through, or what my experience was just now. Like, you don't know how I went about it. Oh, you talk about you spread love for a living and you preach love, and you're here saying that. That's what pretty much, like, it was a thread. Like, she kept going on and on and on and on. And I was first off, I wasn't responding no negative way to her.
Right.
Like, I was responding with, like, you don't know the full situation. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to know the full situation. This is how I feel right now in the moment.
Right.
And I'm sharing it with whoever wants to read it. Like, my whole thing is this too. Like, if something doesn't resonate with you, then just keep it pushing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody complains about stuff that people post on social media and things like that. At the end of the day, we are in control of what we want to have on our feed. Right? Like, some things are force fed to us, like the ads and stuff like that. But when it comes to people that we follow, that's up to us.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes across to me that's negative, or is somebody who just, I don't like their content for whatever reason, I'm unfollowing you.
Right. And I'm also the type of person that I don't even follow celebrities.
Same.
I follow people that I actually know on a first name basis, or I've, crossed paths with in some way, shape, or form. But, following The Rock or following J-Lo, and, nothing wrong with those people, shout out to them and everything, but they don't do anything for my life. Do I think I have a shot with J-Lo? No. So why am I gonna be all thirsty on her page or something? Right. That's just me personally. But continue on with the subject though. So obviously we've been talking about how you've been spreading this message, and this is something you're very passionate about and everything. But as far as Jose Cruz himself, the person, like we were talking about, you're human. You get angry, you get sad, you get all these things. What do you do personally for yourself when you're not on social media, when you're not on your phone? What is it that you do personally for yourself to keep your brain in check, to keep you in a therapeutic state of mind, to keep that engine going so that you could continue to spread your message to the rest of the world?
For me, writing is big. I write a lot. I take the time to just decompress too.
Mm.
I think a lot of times when I go to a different city and I spread love, or I go on the Brooklyn Bridge, it takes a lot out of me. Because while I'm up there, not just physically standing up there and holding up a sign, but just like people coming up to you sometimes and telling you different things, and you talking to people, like it takes a toll on you. So I make sure on a daily basis to take that time to meditate, take that time to myself. I'm big on like walking around with no headphones sometimes. Like I go on walks, no headphones, just taking nature, and just be calm and be at peace. That's really what helps me. Sports helps me as well. I love playing basketball. I love watching basketball and baseball, all types of sports. I'm big on ESPN, but things like that too. Like those are things that really help me just ease and stay calm when I'm feeling like a little like I need that break. But definitely walks and writing. Those are definitely the two big ones for me.
Walks has actually been a big thing for me. I'll get a little personal with you on here because I tend to do that on the show. So I've lived on my own now for almost 7 years. But before that, I was living with my father, God rest his soul, for nearly 11. And as much as I love my father and I understand that he was trying to do the best he could, I feel like we always were to bump heads because basically we're kind of like two alpha males under the same roof, and neither one of us wants to back down. Like he thinks he could talk to me or do something to me in a certain way because he's my father, but at the same time I'm an adult and I'm a man. I'm not going to let anybody speak to me that way, this, that, and the third. And it led to a pretty toxic household every now and then. So what I would do is I would actually just go outside, take a walk. Whether I had a dog or when I didn't have a dog, I just needed to get the fuck out of that house. I just needed to get out, and music was my savior because there was at one point where I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be an artist. I thought that was going to be my career at one point. So I was doing like my Eminem 8 Mile kind of thing where I would just put on my headphones and just walk around, go on the bus, and then just kind of like decompress. And walking actually became a big thing for me because I just needed to get out. And I would be walking for miles and miles and hours, not even thinking about it. Like I'm just, my foot is consistently putting one foot in front of the other, and it's just going and going. And I've been doing this ever since the CD player days, before we had iPhones and iPods and everything like that. That's how far away it got. And with that being said, I had to make sure that I had the right CDs that I wanted to listen to in my pocket, because it's not like I had 1,000 playlists on one CD. There was only like 15 or 16 songs. So I had to make sure that I had the right ones for the right mood at the time. Yeah. But that's where it originated. And then finally I move out. And then my father passes away, unfortunately, about a month and a half later from a heart attack, very unexpectedly. But that's something that I still do to this day. I feel like because I was in that situation and it did wonders for me, and I also was getting my body moving, I felt like this has become a part of my daily routine. Well, not as much daily now because I haven't been able to do it as much as I could, and especially in this brutal cold.
Right.
But whenever I get the chance, I really take advantage of it. And now that I have my dog as well, one of the things that I think's one of my favorite things to do throughout the week, and I make sure I have to do it at least once a week, is go to my favorite park and I take him. And and I'm just like you. I don't have any headphones on. I don't even look at my phone. I'm not even posting that I'm at the park or anything like that. It's just me and him, and we're just running around and enjoying nature. And it's a nice, peaceful, quiet place. And it's a place where I can finally really center myself, all to the point where he's tired and he's ready to go home. But you know what? I had my fill, and I know that he had his fill. And that's what I do as far as, keeping my mental health, intact.
I think that's a beautiful thing, because like, especially us men, like we're not taught those things. Mm-hmm. Like we're taught that we're supposed to do the opposite of that, right? Like
especially us Hispanic men,
right? Like we're upset. We're not supposed to just go for a walk. We're supposed to be combative, right? Go back and forth, get angry, right? Show that like we run this, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what we're supposed to do according to society and according to how sometimes we're raised is to be that way, right?
Yeah.
Walking out and going for a walk is not the way that we're taught to kind of deal with what's the word? With conflict,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's it's a beautiful thing that you're able to do that. Like go for a walk, like when you know, like or you were able to do that beforehand, like go for a walk. Because I think that that's things that people see it as like I don't know when you were in school, like sometimes kids walk out of the classroom because they need a break or whatever. Like sometimes that's needed, like in life. Sometimes you just gotta walk out, like and just and just clear off from this because you don't know what might happen if you stay in that room. Like you don't know what might happen if you stay in here. Like
And I'm actually glad you said that because I actually did used to do that when I was in school. My teachers always thought I had a bladder problem because I always constantly needed to go to the bathroom and had that pass, just in case the security guard, was, while roaming the hallways. But a lot of it was mainly just because I just needed to take time to myself. Like I feel like I was in a stuffy room with a bunch of people that was on top of me, and my brain is overstimulated with all they're trying to teach me, and like just got to give myself that break.
yeah, and doesn't as adults it doesn't change.
No.
We still need those. If anything, we need even more of those breaks.
Oh,
because
yeah.
we have so many more stressors and so many things going on in life. So I think it's dope that you're able to do that, to handle that in a healthy way.
Yeah, and I try to tell these young kids, like mainly in their 20s, that they have the whole "I'll sleep when I'm dead" mentality. Man, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, man. That shit never got anybody ahead in life, bro. You need your rest.
Facts.
God damn it, I got sleep apnea. I need my 7 hours of rest, so I got my CPAP machine ready to go. Yeah.
No, it's true. Like, and if you're gonna put in hours to something, like, it just a lot of people waste time, man. And by that I mean like if you're gonna use your hours to like grind and do something because you want to pursue it, then let it be constructive hours. There's a lot of people sitting around their couch talking about I want to do this, I want to do that, but they don't get up and do it.
Bro,
That's a whole nother conversation, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, bro, I can tell you, one of the things I can tell you is that this is kind of sad, but it's also kind of funny, where I actually made fun of a friend of mine way back in the day when he was just smoking a blunt. And he was like, man, I got to figure out a way how to get this money. I'm like, dude, you just spend your last $5 on that fucking bag of weed, man. Right. So what the hell are you talking about?
It's like, bro, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, you just smoked the last thing that's going to make you rich.
Right, like, when you starting?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so what can you tell me about The World Needs Love tour?
Man, The World Needs Love tour has really changed my life.
What is it exactly?
So The World Needs Love tour, I'm the creator and founder. It started in 2021.
Okay.
And it's a movement. It's a spread love, mental health awareness movement. I go from city to city with my signs to spread love and and raise mental health awareness. It all started on the Brooklyn Bridge, but I've been to Miami, Charlotte, Philly,
yeah.
Just in LA, which is dope. But I think it's the coolest thing about the World Needs Love tour is I'm able to connect with people all over the world, not just like in the city in New York City or in the tri-state area, but just everybody, in the U.S. and outside the U.S. I have people that follow me from Paris that want me to go out there with my sign in Europe, like Australia, all over the world, to be honest with you. So it's really formed a lot of connections that I'm grateful for. And it's shown me the impact that love can have on people. And it just keeps me going, to be honest.
Have you done a lot of traveling outside the United States?
I mean, I've gone like Dominican Republic multiple times, like Mexico, like the regular. But I definitely want to go to like Europe and do the World Needs Love tour over there. I want to go to a couple countries over there in Europe and hold up my sign. And I also want to do a few things in Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico.
Nice. So with all the places that you've been to with the World Needs Love tour, which place, which city, which town would you say was the one that was the most receptive and made you feel really optimistic about humanity?
It's always, for me, it's always the Brooklyn Bridge, but I'm gonna pick a city outside of Brooklyn, just because, I think Philly for me hit different because, first off, I was by the Rocky Steps.
Oh, I love the Rocky Steps.
Yeah.
I was there too. Yeah,
I was by the Rocky Steps. That's where I was holding my sign, and I think when I was there in Philly, it was probably when a person shared their most like impactful story that really impacted me the most. there. There was a couple. They were like maybe in their 50s, and the woman was like just staring at me and my sign for like, I'm gonna say almost 10 minutes. I'm holding up my sign, and like I don't approach people. I let them approach me. Like I'm standing there, so like if somebody wants to come up to me and talk to me, I'm open to it. But I'm not forcing it. I'm not forcing the conversation. But like after 10 minutes, I saw that she was still there. So like I put my sign down. And I walked over to her, and I was like, "Hey, my name is Jose." I introduced myself to her. She told me that she had lost her son. Like he had taken his life, when like 30 years ago, because she's in her 60s now. But she's like that. She's like, she wishes that he would have seen something like this, or he would have seen a message like this. For those who don't know, my sign says, if you're reading this right now, I want you to know that you are important. Your life matters. You are loved. You are the only you in this world, and no one can replace you. That's the sign. That's what the message was saying on the sign that I was holding up.
Yeah.
So, she shared her story with me. She started crying. She gave me a hug. Her husband was there. Like we all hugged together collectively. And once again, it just showed me the impact, like that it can have on people. And it also shows me that no matter where you're from, no matter where you come from, love connects us all.
Absolutely.
When it's in the right place, what I'm saying? Like when it's coming from a genuine space and a genuine place, it can connect us all.
Right.
And that's why I appreciate when you tell me that you feel like it's it's genuine and it comes from the right place, because at the end of the day, like if this is all it ever is, I'm so content, happy with what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like maybe one day I'll be on the Today Show talking about the World You Love Tour. That's great. But right now in this moment, I'm content and fulfilled with the fact that I'm sitting here with you talking about it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate.
You know
that.
What I'm saying? Like what I'm saying is like, there's a lot of people that
You read my mind, Steve.
There's a lot of people that are just thinking like so big sometimes, and it's cool to think big, but it's also to appreciate like in the moment of what you're doing and the impact that you're doing. And I think that when you're really doing it with an authentic and genuine heart, that's what you do. You appreciate it. Like you appreciate when someone says they want to have me on their podcast. It's like you're telling me to go to the White House. Like it's like you're telling me something like,
yeah.
I'm like, that's how it feels to me, because I feel like, bro, someone wants to hear my message and wants to share it with other people.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'm far from a president or anything important, but I appreciate that nonetheless. But no, but as far as what your sign says, what I wanted to say about it is that it's crazy how even something so simple can make so much of an impact, because you didn't write out this entire essay. You didn't write out an entire paragraph. You basically, I don't want to call it basic or simple or anything, but it's common words.
Yeah.
It's very common words. It's something that we've all heard ever since we were kids and so on and so forth. But it's because I picture myself back in 2018 when I was suicidal and I almost took my own life, and I'm glad that it didn't happen.
Same.
If I well, we'll touch on that a little bit.
I'm glad you're here with us.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, thank God. But I look back as that guy that just hated myself and just wanted to end it all, and also wanted to be. It was really toxic, where I wanted to. Part of the reason I wanted to take my own life was because I wanted to punish people or make them feel terrible for making me, the way that I am. It was almost like taking it out on them. Like, see, you're gonna live with this for the rest of your life because you did this to me or you said that to me, whatever the case may be. But ultimately, I grew out of that, and I still have my daily struggles, but it never was as bad as it was back then. But the point that I'm getting here is that I go back to that old 2018 version of myself, and I think that if I actually had saw that sign, as common as simple as those words are, I probably would have broke the fuck down and started crying, because you know what? There's nobody else in the world that would have told me that stuff. But I feel like a person of your caliber is sharing that with me, and it's coming from a place of genuine. And when I think about that, I think about that woman that unfortunately lost her son. God bless her, and God bless her son. It's just amazing how even the smallest message can have the biggest impact. And I'm glad that you're taking the steps in doing something like that. And I hope that you can continue to inspire other people to do the same, because ultimately I think that's going to make it a better world.
Of course, man. And I will never stop doing what I'm doing right now. And that's the reason why, is because, like you said, right, if you would have seen that in 2018, you would have broken down, and you would have appreciated the message, and it would have hit you different, right? Like,
Fuck
it
yeah.
would have hit you different.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's exactly what happens when this grown men come up to me with tears in their eyes and just giving me the strongest bear hug, almost picking me off my feet, my 6'2" ass, picking me off my feet and giving me a hug because they needed that message. They needed to see that. And like you said, it's basic, right? It's 4 or 5 sentences of basic stuff that you see maybe as a kid when you're in the classroom, in your kindergarten classroom, but it stops. After a certain age, you don't see those messages anymore, right? You start growing up, and part of it is because we become teenagers and we don't want to see them anymore because we think we're too cool for that, right? Like if I were to go to a 16, 17-year-old, which I've done before with my sons and stuff like that, a lot of them are like, if there's 10 of them, there's at least 3 or 4 of them that think they're too cool for it. Like, they'll be like, no, I don't want to do that. You know, they'll hit me with that whole thing. I'm just like, bro, you know you want to read the song, bro.
Yeah. Why you fronting, bro? Why you fronting? Yeah.
But I got 6 of them. I got 6 of them reading. I got 6 of them that are listening to me speak to them, so that's cool. And, you know, while the 3 or 4 of them think they're too cool for it, they still watching. They just think they're too cool for that.
Right.
But I think that these are messages that we should be hearing for our whole entire lives. It shouldn't stop after 1st grade or 2nd grade. Yeah. I know the school system loves drowning our kids in reading and math. Yeah, it's very important. But if a kid doesn't have self-esteem, if a kid doesn't believe in himself, if a kid doesn't believe that he can do something, all that reading and math doesn't mean anything. Yeah. And that's what's going on in society right now, is that you got these kids, you have kids that are in Harvard and Stanford that don't want to live no more. Exactly. And you think to yourself, damn, he's in Harvard though. Yeah, but he's unhappy. Yeah. Why is he unhappy? Because at the end of the day, yeah, he can read. Maybe he's great at what he's doing in school. He's getting his degree, but at the end of the day, he's not fulfilled or happy because maybe he hasn't heard the messages that he should be hearing while he's doing this. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, school and a degree can only give you so much fulfillment.
And are you really doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for those? Like, because that's another. And I'm glad you said that, because, listen, I did go to college, but I dropped out. But if I'm being transparent here, I should have never went, because I barely graduated high school. School was just not for me. There was just no way in hell that my brain was going to wrap around what I was being taught in school. But, you know, I was giving all these excuses from family members, particularly my parents, that, you know, that I'm playing stupid or I'm being lazy, this, that. No, I can't compute it. You know, it's I don't know what it is. But that they just, you know, their idea of me trying to learn is, you know, grounding me, or, you know, taking things that I care about, or, you know, things that I considered my therapy, you know, taking away my music, taking away my reading material and everything. This is what I do to get, you know, sanity. And you're taking that away just because I can't figure out what the fuck this algebra problem is doing and I'm not passing this class. Yeah. So, but yeah, like when I went to college, I felt like the only reason I went to college was because that's what everybody was expecting me to do in order for me to better my life. But it just wasn't for me. It was almost like a Vietnam flashback again. Like, I always remembered why I didn't almost succeed in high school. And I'm also doing it here, but it's also coming out of my pocket. So I'm killing myself financially as well. Right. And I haven't gone back to school. I just relegated to the fact that I'm never going to be a school person. But I feel like I've been able to make some kind of semblance of success with my life where I didn't need that. All I needed was just my passion and my drive. And it has probably made me the happiest that I've ever been, probably ever. You know, not just in a long time, but ever. I could say that the 37, almost 30-year-old version of Jason is much happier than the 24, 25-year-old Jason back then.
Shout out to Jason, man.
Thank you, man.
Shout out to you.
Thank you, bro.
Shout out to you for that, for real. Shout out to you for that.
Appreciate that.
Because wait for the applause.
It's a standing ovation at this point.
I know. But I think it's important that you realize that there's people that go their whole lives without finding, you know, that fulfillment, you know, that feeling fulfilled, or feeling happiness, or that purpose of what it is they want to do.
Well, that's kind of what I do on my social media platform now, because one of the things that I always stress is that if I'm posting something about I'm doing something, whether it's a podcast, whether I'm going on somebody else's podcast, or I'm acting, I'm directing, whatever. I'm not trying to show off my accomplishments. I'm not trying to list my accomplishments so that I can get likes and everything like that. I'm doing it because, as we mentioned before, I could be a little bit of a self-deprecating person. I have imposter syndrome. I have a guilt complex. I have all of these things, but I'm working on it. And I'm just merely putting that stuff out there in the universe to basically tell people that, hey, if a little schmuck like me can do it, then why can't you? So that's the only reason I post things like that on social media, to basically tell people, like, listen, if I can do it, so can you. And this is coming from a guy that dropped out of college.
Facts. And I was thinking about something. When I was driving, I was thinking about something similar to what you just said.
Really?
I was thinking, this is my brain always working, but I was thinking how there are people on social media. First off, I don't like to be called an influencer.
Okay.
Like, I don't like to be called that.
I haven't called you that yet.
No,
Okay,
I'm not
right.
saying you. I'm just saying.
It is out there, yeah.
Like, but you know, like I understand that's the term that's used.
Yeah.
But people are on social media to influence and impress. But there's another side of social media where you're there to impact and inspire. Right? And I see myself and I see you on that other side of impacting and inspiring other people. And like I said, people that are caught up in likes and views on social media, and they complain about the algorithm, and they complain about this, they complain about that.
I know a few of you out there.
Ask yourself, why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the likes and views? Because that's the first problem. That's the first that will get you nowhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's like somebody who's looking for like their 15 minutes of fame back in the day, or you know, like that one hit wonder from back in the day. We have a lot of one hit wonders now, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like those people that were considered like those 15 minutes of fame, people that just come and go. Microwave. It's like microwave content or microwave.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? You know,
or they feel like the likes are actually make them feel like they have validation.
Right. And it's just like, I could tell right away when someone is kind of like leaning towards that way. Like I don't like to judge people, but I like to get to know them.
Right.
But like before I collaborate with anybody or that kind of, or you know, like we create together, I always have that in the back of my mind, because I'm not that. Like I'm not doing this for the likes or views.
Right.
I'm doing it because I really freaking care. Like,
Absolutely.
I care to leave this place, this world, a better place than when I entered it. And
right.
I feel like I have the power to do that. Newsflash, we all have the power to do that.
We all do, yes.
But some of us don't use it, but we all have the power to make this world a better place. Since I realized that I do have the power and I found my way of doing it, that's just my goal.
And not only do we have the power to do it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to do it like you do it or how somebody else does it. Find your own power and use that to your advantage. That's the only way that I think that if people realize that more, as opposed to emulating how somebody's trying to do something, that's, you know, how could you, listen, Batman is a superhero, but he doesn't have Superman powers, but he still uses his superpowers elsewhere to impact whatever the job needs to be done.
Right.
So that's, I don't know why I use that analogy, but that's the best thing I can come up with.
No,
but it makes sense.
But it's true though. Like,
yeah.
That's another thing. Like, I tell people are like, yo, how do you, people ask me for advice all the time. And I tell them, like, listen, find what you really want to do. Like, find what your purpose is, right?
Yeah.
Like, what you're passionate about. If you're passionate about mental health, cool. Now, what are your strengths now? Like, you personally, what are your strengths? If you're somebody who's great behind the camera, you're great talking on the mic, and that's what you do, maybe a mental health podcast will work out for you.
Right.
Maybe that's your lane.
Yeah.
You know, if your thing is talking to the youth and start maybe speaking, you know, to schools and you know, like, find your lane as far as what you want to do. But a lot of people are just trying to emulate and copy everything they see, and they feel like that's going to lead them to success or that's going to lead them to whatever they want to do. To me, I promise, word to everything, I feel successful where I am right now. If the world needs love toward, this is where it is. Like, I'm content. I'm happy with that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of people see other people and they're like, yo, I want to get to here. I want to do this. I want to do that. You could want to do that, but what steps are you taking to get there? And that's another conversation for another day, because some people just don't put in the work when it comes to certain things. You know, like, I speak to a lot of people. I'm not afraid to shoot my shot when it comes to speaking to people, like DMs or whatever, or sending emails out to speak to people. Like, just, even if it's just to pick their brains a little bit about something, you know. But I think that a lot of people just want a handout or easy way to I don't know what people want, to be honest. But like, It's just.
But that's not your responsibility.
Right,
That's not your
it
job.
just rubs me off the wrong way.
I hear you. But at the end of the day, it's not your responsibility. That's on them. And hopefully whatever you can do within your power to help them realize their power, that's on them. You're like, listen, you could show them the door, but it's up to them to open it.
Right.
Now, one of the things I'm also thinking about is I remember there was a time, I think that we're around the same age range, where like this kind of subject was looked at as taboo. You know, you can't talk about this stuff. People aren't down to talk about it. They're too nervous, or they think that's whatever. It's not in their wheelhouse. Now it's become a very prevalent topic. But I also feel like because of that, there's a lot of people out there that pretend that they care about mental health awareness just because it's become a trend now. Now it's become a fad, where I feel like the only reason somebody would claim that they're a mental health advocate or an influencer is because they're trying to get some ass from some girl that likes that kind of thing. Right. You know, but I don't think, but that's the difference that I get from you as opposed to some other people out there, because I don't get that sense from you, as I alluded to earlier in the show. But unfortunately, I do feel, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I do feel like, unfortunately, there are some people out there that are trying to be down with the cause, so to speak, because it's what's in now. It's what's the trendiest thing. It's the hot topic. Mental health is in now, so that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about meditation and therapy and all that kind of stuff. But do they really genuinely care about it? Or is it just because it's the thing to talk about right now?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you 100%. I believe that's, I won't put a number to it, but I believe it's over 50% of people out there that are speaking on mental health. It's because it's convenient, because it's the topic. It makes it in a way, they look at it. These are the same people that 3 years from now, whatever the hot topic is, that's what they'll be talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll just switch off to whatever is going on. And for me, like you said, it's not my responsibility, right? But I do stay clear of people like that. Like, if someone hits me up and I see that kind of vibe, I'm not messing with it. And that's why I don't go to a lot of events either that I'm invited to sometimes, like a lot of creator or influencer events. It's because sometimes I feel like everything is all for show. Like, everything is all for just like, it's all superficial.
Listen, I mean, I get where you're coming from too, because there's sometimes a lot of people that reach out to me just because they want to come on my podcast, just because they want to promote what they got a new album out, or, you know, this is what they're doing. They got a new business, this, that, and the third. But then afterwards, when I've actually brought some of those people onto the show, and then they are upset that we got all deep and personal and everything. And I was like, well, listen, obviously you didn't do your homework, because that's not like, if you wanted to come on here and just talk about your album or your business venture or whatever the case may be, that's not what I do here, you know? So maybe you should have done your homework and know what the show's about, because this is what I do. This is what I do best. And if you want to go ahead and promote this new thing that you got going on and so on and so forth to the masses, then you know what? Everybody and their mother has a podcast nowadays. Go to them, because you're not going to get that treatment over here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a great response, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't change that, because at the end of the day, like, there's people out there that feel like you owe them that or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that feel like, I don't owe you anything, bro. Like, if you're coming across to me and I feel like you're doing stuff for likes or for views, and you want to meet me on the Brooklyn Bridge and make this whole like thing, and then I look at your page and it's all like random shit where nothing like goes together, and like nothing connects, and I talk to you about it, and it's just, you're just so focused on like I don't know, it just rubs me off the wrong way. And at that point, I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Like, we're not collaborating or anything. We're not doing anything, because like I just don't feel like we're gonna end up doing something, and I'm gonna end up being like, I'm not doing it while we're in the spotlight. I'm gonna end up doing the walking out and be like, I'm out, bro. Like, I'm not doing this. So I think that unfortunately, it goes back to social media. That's what it's created, that kind of mindset to people. Like, it's like people just are just out there. They want to talk about what's the hot topic. They only want to talk about it when it's convenient. They only talk about men's mental health when it's the month. They only talk about it when a celebrity is going through a mental health episode, as if we're not all humans and all have our own mental health stuff going on. These are all things that social media is just
right.
it's just big on right now.
Hey, 15 years ago, people thought Britney Spears was fucking crazy. Now they're actually caring about her well-being.
Right.
Because whatever she was going through was some real shit. You know, it wasn't cool to make fun of her like that.
They were just having her on. They were just had her in magazine. Like they were just talking crazy. The tabloids, right? Like the paparazzi was just going crazy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this girl was going. She was really suffering. So.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, bro, we're about to close out this episode in a little bit, but I'm looking at that hoodie that you got on right now.
Yeah.
Is that your own merch right there? By
It's
any
not
chance?
mine. Shout out to you NYC, on Instagram. Send me some cool merch.
Nice.
He's big on mental health. Mental health matters. Yeah. I like the hoodie. It's fire. It's keep me warm too.
That's never a bad thing. Man, but other than that, we also talked about sports, and we're gonna close this episode in a little bit. But just really quick, what are you expecting from the Mets coming up this year, bro?
Bro, we want to talk baseball right now.
just briefly. But you know what? If you want, we can save that for my other sports show, Yo BTV Sports, where my boy Hugo Boy from the Hugo Boy podcast every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. on Bravely TV Network on YouTube. Boy. Exactly. But yeah, no.
For the Mets, like last season, when Diaz got hurt in the WBC,
yeah, oh
that was the beginning of that's like equivalent of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt for the Jets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it sets the tone for the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But for the Mets, just hit the ball, bro. Just hit the ball, bro. Like just go out there, don't get hurt. Have a good season. Give us some good baseball to cheer for. Fight for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
No one's asking for much. You know what I'm saying? I feel like nowadays, once you get into the playoffs and you want to run, you never know what can happen. You can make it to the World Series and win it all. You know what I'm saying? But you have to put yourself in that position.
Absolutely.
So
2025, baby, they're coming right.
Let's see.
Hey, listen, I'm a Jets fan, man, so I know pain and suffering myself. All right, well, Jose, I can't believe an hour has gone by, bro.
Damn,
I feel like I could talk to you for hours, and we actually have before, man. But you know what, man? I really appreciate you taking the time coming all the way from Brooklyn to Jersey here for first class, second place. And I say this all the time to guests, but I really feel like it really means a lot of validity here. The name of the show is called First Class, Second Place. Therefore, we take pride in bringing first class people on the show, and I think that we definitely did our job. Well done with you being on here on the couch, talking to us, spreading your message, and being your goddamn self.
Appreciate that, bro. Thank you for having me. Keep doing your thing. Keep shining. You know we talk on the daily anyways.
Yeah.
Keep doing your thing. I'm so proud of you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
I've seen the growth in the show. I've seen the growth in you. And it's truly an inspiration, for me to see that. You know what I'm saying? For me to see somebody grow and just do what they want to do and do what they love. You know what I'm saying? I see you doing this podcast, you're doing the sports podcast. Just do what you love. That's what it's all about, because that's what really makes you happy and gives you peace in life.
And that come from you is all I need to know. That's all about.
Facts.
Now, before, I just have one more question, and then I promise we'll close out. So one of the questions that I asked, well, the only question I asked at the end, actually, is because, I'm a big movie nerd, and I just kind of want to add this to end things on a positive note and everything. So I don't know how much of a movie guy you are, but just roll with it. It's not the SATs.
I'm rolling. We rolling.
All right, there's not the SATs. You don't have to think hard about it or anything like that. So you, the real Mozo, on Instagram and all social media platforms.
Yeah.
If they were to make a movie on your life, and what a great movie I think it would be, which actor would you see you portraying your character and why?
Hey.
It could be anybody. They don't even have to look like you.
That's a good question, man. I like the way this kid acts. The one from Stranger Things.
Steve knows that show very well. I never seen Stranger Things.
I forgot his name. I think his name is Caleb. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I thought you did.
I got a new one.
Oh, okay.
I would pick Childish Gambino. Donald Glover.
Oh, okay.
Donald Glover
All right.
to play me. I feel like he's a good actor, and he's a multi-talented actor.
Oh, yeah, he's very talented. Absolutely. All right, nobody said that on the show, so awesome. That's awesome. All right. Again, bro, thank you so much for coming through, man. Really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for the real Mozo. Here.
Peace and love.
Yeah,
Peace and love.
So I was just going to ask you where you can find you on social media, but I just did that right now, so we don't need to do that. But is there anybody you want to give a shout out to before we close out?
Man, I want to give a shout out to you.
Thank you, man.
I want to give a shout out to everybody out there who's showing me love, supporting. Anybody out there who's going through anything, listen, just keep doing your thing. There's a light. You may not see the light right now, but there's always a light, and it's within you. You know what I'm saying? block the outside noise and find yourself, like for real. Because I know that's life sometimes gets tough and it gets rough, but at the end of the day, everything you need is within you. You just got to take that time to find it. So peace and love to everybody out there. Follow me on IG, TikTok, The Real Mozo. The World Needs Love Tour, coming to a city near you. You know the vibes.
All right, and also a big shout out to my girls Kim and Ada.
Oh my
Uplifting
God.
season is in effect. Yes.
Shout out to Kim and Ada. Yeah.
All right, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of First Class Second Place. You can follow me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms, any one of them, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, anything. Just I am Jason Enrique. Thank you so much for tuning in on First Class Second Place podcast. We out.
Oh my God.